good traits if you're a good negotiator. Here's a good one. I always like to say proper representation and disclosure. Sold as is should be in your listing. If you know it's a short sale, you want to sell it sold as is. You want to disclose, disclose, disclose. To set expectations. So that could be with anybody. That could be with the seller. If you know you need paperwork and you need the bank statements and the pay stubs at the beginning of every month, when you're sitting down with your listing and you're talking to that seller, you want to say to them, listen, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, if you want this short sale process to go well, I am going to need this amount of paperwork from you, and I'm going to need your bank statements and pay stubs potentially at the beginning of every month. So you're setting the expectations with the seller. You want to set the expectations with the buyers. If a buyer comes in and says, hey, I want to place an offer on your property, but they want to close in 30 days, that's probably not possible. It's probably not the best buyer for your short sale because it's a short sale and you probably are not going to close in 30 days. So you're setting the expectations even with the buyer. You want to keep track of the paperwork and submit complete applications. You have to have a thoroughness and attention to detail and keep records of correspondence with the lenders and try to communicate frequently. And this sometimes is not easy. Some of these lenders have Equator or they have what they call secure messaging. So sometimes you really even can't keep some of these records. It's really hard. You want to ensure the valuation of the property representing the client's situation. So every time that you do one of these, typically a BPO is ordered or a valuation is ordered. You want to be prepared for that. You want to represent your client in the best way possible and show up to that appointment prepared. And we'll go into that in a little bit further in the presentation. Make sure you're working with people who understand short sales. Lori Harding understands short sales. Her team understands short sales. It's really important that you're working with people that understand, because you could end up in a situation where here's a good example. You can end up in a situation where you don't know if something's on title, what to do with it. So we have a situation down on one of our Massachusetts sales where the seller passed away and there are executions on title. Now, I had a long talk with the title company down there and back and forth, and this wasn't just a day or two. Like, we went for a week back and forth and with an attorney, and got to the point where the attorney can ensure that title even though those executions are still on title. So these are things, work with people that understand them if you don't, because I would have sat there and spent my wheels negotiating these 4 executions, but I have such a good team that understood that because the seller died, the executions died with the seller. So that was nice. And of course, do not give advice beyond your expertise. I've had agents try to explain the tax ramifications on a short sale when they do discharge the debt. Don't do that. Just tell the seller to reach out to their CPA, to their accountant. You could say, yeah, you may have tax ramifications, but you're not a financial expert. Please call your CPA or your attorney. And then, of course, lastly, you want to understand the approval terms you're getting. Are they getting a deficiency release? Are they not getting a deficiency release? These are things you want to understand if you're a good negotiator in the process.